Fascinating transition of a project that's 80 years old, a land area that was recaptured, or a lot of people want to say claimed and not reclaimed, originally bay water. So all of the Army base, all of the port area, all of this up to about here was bay. This is all infill land. In fact, the old train station that's still here today, but in bad condition, but a historic building, was right at the edge of the bay, and trains would come into here, and you could take the ferry from here to San Francisco. So the water came all the way to here, and the late 1800s and on was a effort to fill the bay, and if things had kept going without conservation, the bay would be filled either by direct action or indirect action from silt coming from the old gold mines in the hills, which is still happening today. But at least we have control of not increasing the land area and taking water away from the bay. So the Army base, which is in all colors, is a conceptual master plan we developed, which is keeping the spirit of the Army base as its underlying function, which is industrial shipping, trains to ships, ships to trains, trains to trucks, trucks to trains, all happening in what we call an intermodal facility. And as you've probably seen, containers that go on trucks go on ships and stacked, and that was a 1950s invention that still lives today. What's really fascinating, more than the project itself, underlying the project, is that this land area that you're looking at was originally drawn in a master plan mode back in the 40s when the Army developed the base for a supply depot. So the Army base is historic in that it served World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and even the Gulf War in part with shipping materials out. It was the largest military supply base in the country. So the troops went out of here, a lot of materials went out of here to the war effort all over the world, mostly West Coast, of course. So what's fascinating about this drawing is that this is drawn by hand. That's what I'm here to talk about, really, is this is a giant plan drawn by someone on a drafting table. This is drawn by somebody on a computer, overlaying CAD drafting on top of an aerial photograph that we took from a pretty high elevation to get good resolution. So we have an aerial with a cut-in drawing from computer. So we can manipulate a lot of things today using different software, which is great. But after a lot of years of using CAD today, which facilitates drawing very nice straight lines to the T, no interruptions, no mistakes on a line style, you go back and examine closely the hand drawings, and here you can see an example of all the rail tracks and all the crisscrossing, which we call poching, hatching of the buildings. All of this is done by hand. So this was drawn on a big piece of vellum paper, or in some cases mylar. The better texting was done with an ink pen using a template, if you will, that traced letters, and the pen went with the letters. So you've got it was called Leroy, and you were able to draw more neatly for they use it for large titles, and there's a lot of places. In this case, there's still hand drawing, hand lettering in amongst the title block and things. And if you look at other drawings, there's more hand lettering, but the drafting is all done by hand, which is a combination of pencil and ink. And net, you can't tell the difference, in my opinion, and more importantly, it communicates the same information as the new one does. You can do things with new technology. You can send it over the phone. You can send it to New York in a heartbeat. Back in the day, you couldn't do that with this. You had to blueprint it, and you had to send it by mail. And so computer technology has advantages, but in the end, the same amount of work was done by hand, and frankly, knowing the draftsmen back 20, 30 years ago, they were as fast as the CAD people are today. So when we start evaluating what computers have done, you've got to go back and look at the product that was created, and it's pretty amazing. Not only are the buildings still there, from a project standpoint, you can see the these long warehouses that are up here in yellow, which in about a year will all be gone. And they'll be taken the place of by new warehouses of contemporary design, different shape, different functions, different technology. So some things never change. It's amazing what people can do with the tools of their day. And having lived through the hand drafting world, not the hieroglyphics, I'm not that old, but from the hand drafting to the computer technology, there's a lot of days, for a lot of reasons, that I wish this was back. Because draftsmen had to think on their feet, and they were actually constructing things as they drew, where today it's commands on a computer where people don't have to think as much. And I think that's common in a lot of industries.